for. We gon' take it up from last year. Shoot on my shot, boy, I'm long range. Me and the team on the same thing. Stayed down, never switched up. Only thing changed was the game. I'm in the zone now. Nothing can change what we on now. When I pull up, know it's going down. Foot on the gas, ain't no slowing down. Aiming for greatness, no settling. Kick down the doors, they won't let me in. Taking no L's, yeah, I gotta win. Watch me kick down the doors, they won't let me in. Who running the game now? Foot on the gas, can slow down. No, my team, we holding it down. We know we running it now. Watch the game change. Watch the game change. Watch the game change. Watch the game change, yeah. On me. Tell them that's like, yeah, it's still love it. I'm taking a shot for my enemies. I can't waste no more time on my energy. I know they know I got it on lock. Go against me, that's a long shot. Cause I'm counting wins all around the clock. Never doubt me, boy, I don't stop. Who do you feel when they make you the monster? I am not scared of none of you imposters. Taking the lead now while they watching. Think you should leave now while the options. Taking no L's, yeah, I gotta win. Watch me kick down the doors, they won't let me in. I'm running the game now. Foot on the gas, can slow down, no.
Man, I tell you, one of these days, some of y'all gonna learn. I know what the fuck I'm talking about. Stop giving up on your team. Believe in the Cleveland Cavaliers. This is not your grandpa's Cleveland Cavaliers. What a hell of a comeback. What a hell of a comeback for the Cavaliers. Cavs end up winning 105-100 over a Brooklyn Nets team that absolutely refused to go away. This was a fun game in many respects. Obviously, Cleveland, it did not go our way for much of the second half, and we were getting worried. We were definitely getting worried that win streak was getting ready to be put to an end at 10. But after what we have seen from Kenny Atkinson, King Kenny, and all to start this season, how the fuck could we ever doubt them? How can we doubt them? Believe in your damn team, okay? This is not the same team that we have seen the last couple of seasons. All I know is that Evan Mobley came to play. All I know is that Ty fucking Jerome came to play. All I know is that the Cavaliers are now 11-0. Last night, they became the 15th team in NBA history to start the season 10-0. Tonight, they became the 11th team to start a season 11-0. You see how the list keeps shortening? The Cavaliers are making history. They're playing on the second night of a back-to-back, just like Brooklyn was, although they did, they went off a overtime game. So you got to give it to them. We're going to talk about how great and hard they played tonight, but this is about the Cavaliers right now. We obviously know that playing on the second leg of a back-to-back can be, it can definitely kind of tamper down what the team will play like. But at the end of the day, the Cavaliers, thank the Lord, they've been blowing teams out left and right. So they haven't really had to lean on the starters heavy amounts of minutes. Guys' bodies have been, the stress on their bodies have been less, and the amount of minutes overall for each starter has gone down considerably compared to where we were at last season with this group. And in a season in which they've already experienced their fair share of missed games due to injury from the likes of Max Strus, Dean Wade, a couple others you can throw out there. But of those 11 teams to start 11-0, 2 ended up losing in the first round. Don't want to be there. 9 ended up making it to the conference finals. 6 went on to play in the finals, and 3 of those 6 won a title. Now, time is going to tell what happens with this team. It's obviously very early into the season. But one thing is for certain, something special is occurring with this team. We see them win in exciting fashion, new ways almost every single night. Evan Mobley was phenomenal tonight. That block that he had to shut the door on Brooklyn, that just told you the story, man. This man finished with 23 points, 16 boards, went 10 of 11 from the field. He did knock down a triple tonight, 2 of 5 from free throw line, 1 block, 4 steals. My, oh my. This is the player that Cleveland always felt that they were getting. So I love it, man. I absolutely love it. We got to stop doubting this team. I'm just in a place right now where I say this every single live stream. There's not much else I can say. there really is not much else I can say about what we are seeing from this team. Kenny Atkinson has them playing at levels that we never saw under JB. And y'all know how big of a JB fan I was, but this team, the whole mentality has shifted. They don't give up. Why should we? Right? They could have easily folded after Brooklyn went on a huge stretch of baskets, right? I mean, there at one point they went on an 18-5 run to close the second quarter, to close the gap to just 2 points after I believe Cleveland had at one point held a 15-point lead, which they whittled it down completely. And then heading into the from that point on and then into the third, Brooklyn scored 16 straight points to take a 67-57 lead. They're just playing really hard, knocking down shots, getting what they wanted, got to the free throw line a lot. But Evan Mobley ended up breaking that streak and on a last-second shot to beat the buzzer. I'm not sure if that actually counted. I never saw the points go off the board from that. I love some clarification if any of you actually saw the points come off. But it just goes to show it was a tough night. The Cavaliers scrapped. They had to fight back. And for once, this was not a blowout. This was definitely adversity that was being faced. And guess what? It was coming against a Brooklyn Nets team that many people penciled in as a possible W. But this is the whole thing, right? When you're looking at games like this, and then you're looking at games like Chicago, who's coming up, you have to be very, very careful that you're coming in mentally sharp, mentally prepared, and ready to get the best of what your opponent is about to throw at you. Because the Nets, they came to play tonight. Cam Thomas, we know how potent of a scorer this motherfucker is. Nah, he was not efficient tonight at all. But one of the things that he did manage to do was get to the to the charity stripe, right? 8 of 8 from the free throw line. He would finish the night with 22 points and 6 assists. And then the one player on that team that has really been balling out, the guy you're not hearing much about, is Dennis Schroeder. Dennis Schroeder's career has been a funny one. I mean, he has played like a fringe all-star at certain points of his career, and he's starting this season off very, very well, very, very efficient, and he's one of the reasons why Brooklyn has managed to win, a few games in the first place, right? Coming into tonight, he was averaging 19.9 points, 3 rebounds, 6.8 assists, and get this, shooting in a very efficient from the field, 48.5% from the field, 45.8% from free throw from the 3-point line, and 85.7% from the charity stripe. This dude has been ultra efficient, and he has a big reason why Brooklyn is where it is right now. When people really, really felt as if this team was just going to struggle right out of the gate, but every game that they played in, well, nearly every game that they played in has been tooth and nail. They are fighting, and Schroeder was a huge reason why that came to be, at least tonight. So I have massive respect for that, because that's a franchise that hasn't necessarily committed to rebuilding one way or another. They've shipped pieces out, right? We saw Mikal Bridges being moved for the picks, right? But Cam Johnson is still there. Ben Simmons with his massive contract is still there. They still have some other pieces on the roster. Dorian Finney-Smith, DFS. But my opinion is that they will probably, as the season wears on, as they get closer to the trade deadline and they realize that they just don't have what it takes to compete in the Eastern Conference, they'll probably end up shipping some of those pieces off. But it's been an inspiring story, and nothing but respect for that, because you want, anytime you see a team is in that position, you want to see them battle and fight. And they gave Cleveland all that they could handle tonight. And honestly, it's a big reason why people felt as if the streak was in danger. And I kid, but I'm just saying, man, you guys got to stop doubting this team with what we've seen so far. Provided number one says, low key, I think the Cavs will keep you extremely busy this season, fam. They have, man. I've gone live after every single game. I debated whether or not I was going to go live tonight, win or lose, because it's been a lot. But this has definitely been a fun start to the season. Provided one also says, every win podcast with the streak. Yes, every single time that I have gone live, it has come after a win, because I've gone live after every game, and so I know nothing but winning this season. Pee-wee's Burnt Pizza says, I knew this would be a very tough game. Classic trap game. Yet this Cavs team refuses to lose. They do it in new and interesting and exciting ways, right? Whether you have Darius Garland going off in the fourth quarter, whether or not you have Evan Mobley taking control, whether or not you have Isaac Okoro having a big game, or Ty Jerome. Man, these dudes they're incredible, man. They are incredible. Yeah. Yeah, I know. I did not update that yet. I have it listed, but thank you for clarifying that. It's the banner from the last game. I think I actually uploaded it, but I haven't actually changed it. There you go. That said, Cleveland winning their 11th in a row. Who would have pegged that, man? Who would have pegged that? Crazy stuff. And again, I continue to say, if you thought the Cavaliers would start the season on a streak like this, you're out of here. You're lying. You're out of your mind. You're lying to yourself. As optimistic as I am, nah, never saw this shit coming. Never saw this shit coming. Eric Wonder says, haha, as long as the zeros on the right side were straight. Yeah, I uploaded it, and then I just decided to go live without actually placing the new image on there. So thank you for pointing that out. John Vaughn says, it seems the winning streak adds pressure and the guys are stepping up. Absolutely. Anytime you get to a point like this, there's going to be an element of pressure for these guys to continue this streak. And so after they take their, actually, no, I'm not even going to say it. I'm not going to speak it into existence. No, there will be no L's. There will be no fucking losses at this point in time. I'm not even going to put that out in the air because I am very much about speaking things into existence. I am very much about the power of positivity. You guys know me. Anybody who has ever listened to this podcast for any amount of time knows the power of positivity to me is such a big fucking deal. So we're not taking any L's this year. 82-0, bitch. That is all I know. Cleveland says, don't know if you talked about it already, but how about that 4-guard lineup by Kenny late in the fourth? I thought that was very interesting. And the thing that you see from Kenny Atkinson is that he is not afraid at all to tinker with some of these lineups, especially in a game that's so tight, in a game that you're losing, right? I don't think we ever would have saw that out of JB. I'm not lying. I mean, I just don't think that he would have had the guts to do that. And one of the things that Kenny said repeatedly this offseason was that we're going to celebrate this team's depth. We're going to celebrate this team's depth. And that's what we saw tonight. And, that's the beauty of having a Ty Jerome, too. At 6'5", there's a lot of lineup versatility with him. You can place him anywhere between the 1 through 3 in certain lineups. Darius and Donovan, obviously, you're going to have out there. Karis LeVert, there's just so much interchangeability. Is that even a fucking word? I don't know. I've just invented it if it's not. There's so much interchangeability with this roster in regards to the guards. You can legitimately place a lot of guys out there. Yes, we still have some flaws. We don't technically have a true backup 4 or 5 that we can believe in. Tristan Thompson, it is what it is, but I don't think anybody truly wants to be counting on Tristan Thompson come the playoffs. XBeat says, 4 a.m. in Spain, brother, can't sleep. I hope the Cavaliers gave you good reason to stay up, XBeat. Thanks for always being a loyal one, man. John Vaughn says, Mitchell is DG's biggest fan. What a teammate. This is coming in a season where Donovan Mitchell has honestly taken a step back and not necessarily from a play standpoint, but from a on-court field goal attempts, usage standpoint. He has allowed these other guys to step up, and I think it's only going to help in the long run. When the playoffs begin, and you need Evan Mobley or Darius Garland or an Isaac Okoro or Jarrett Allen, anybody who you place out there, you need those types of guys to be able to be dependable. And I think Donovan is seeing that he does not always have to be the guy to carry the Cavs home. Tonight, it was Evan Mobley's night. And this is, Donovan still ended up with 20 plus points, 22 points, went 5 of 12 from the field, 4 6 from the 3-point line. Not Donovan's best game, but at the end of the day, you can understand why he doesn't have to be in that position every single night in and night out, the way that he would have the past 2 seasons. These guys are growing up before our very eyes, and Kenny Atkinson is getting the most out of them. Provided number one says interchangeability equally the fact that things can be exchanged, especially without affecting the way in which something works. Thank you. Thank you. Eric Warner says Evan Mobley is playing like he has something to prove after last season. I mean, the Kenny Atkinson hire was heavily one of the biggest influences, in him taking the job, I would have to believe, was seeing Evan Mobley and how much potential that he has and trying to unlock that consistently, because we've seen glimpses, we've seen flashes, and we've seen him put it together in big time performances before, but we haven't seen him do it consistently until, I would say, this season. And make no mistake, there will be games in which Evan Mobley looks like the Evan Mobley of old, because no player is going to be completely on every single night. But we're seeing those glimpses more and more often. And that, to me, is the best part. And tonight, he had a very efficient night. He was impactful on both ends. It's just beautiful. You're seeing this team blossom before our very eyes. Richard Hacker says, depth allows us to match up with any lineup. Yeah. I mean, this team could legitimately go 12, 13 deep at times. Don't think they should, but I think they can. Tonight, it was essentially a 11. I want to say it was a 10-man rotation. Isaac only played 15 minutes tonight. You got Karis LeVert playing a big 31 off the bench. Big game from him. Sam Merrill played 20. Ty played 18 very, very impactful minutes. The stat sheet will not show up, by the way, for Ty Jerome, our guy that's started this season looking like a 6th man of the year at points, as he scored just 4 points, but he did dish out 5 assists. And the most impressive part to me was the steals, the defense, the ability to stay in front of his man. I mean, I want to say that he entered tonight with 13, maybe 14 steals, and he had 2 more tonight. And he's not playing. It's not like this man is playing a high amount of minutes every single game. It has been sporadic at points, but it's been more consistent than I would have probably believed it would have been under JB. He entered tonight with 13 steals. He ended tonight with a seasonal total of 15. This motherfucker has 15 steals in 11 games. Never in my life would I have thought that Ty Jerome would be among the league leaders in reserves for steals. Yet here we are. I mean, he's just found exciting ways to showcase just how big of a talent he is. I mean, seriously. The dude, again, 15 steals, ranks 15th league-wide. Not even just reserves. He ranks 15th league-wide in total steals on this season. Now, if you apply the bench filter to that, I'm sure the numbers would be even higher for Ty. I mean, I can't say enough good about him. He's third overall off the bench in total steals. He looks like the complete deal at the backup point. And a lot of people love to make the Ricky Rubio comparison, and it stands to reason. But the thing about Ty is that Ty can shoot the damn ball. Ty is an excellent shooter. Ricky Rubio, he would have his games in which he could go ballistic from the 3-point line, or he would look like a consistent or valuable shooter out there. But Ty actually is that, combined with the defense, combined with the facilitation, combined with the deadly floater. It's awesome. And he's bigger than Rubio, if I'm not mistaken. That 6'5" size that Ty has. As I said before, the interchangeability for the guard on this roster, that pays dividends because it allows you the lineup versatility to play Donovan, DG, and Ty in certain lineups, or Karis out there alongside him, Isaac, Sam, Max when he comes back. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be lovely. And you just got to take a second to take it all in, because you never know when things like this are going to occur, when it all feels like it's all come together. It truly does. I can't tell you how many people in the past that I have conversed with felt that this team had a clear ceiling on it. Truth be told, we don't know what it is. We don't know what it is. I'm hoping for a title. I definitely believe a title is in the realm of possibility. I'm not going to use tonight as an example of that because it is just one game, but we have seen 11 of these games now in which they have figured things out when it mattered. They have figured it out. I mean, seriously. Conquered Carlson says talking anything about any trade is just nonsense. Yeah, I've grown to the point right now where even around the deadline, because you do still have a large contingent of folks who believe that around the deadline they should make a move. And there's still a large stretch of games between now and then. A lot of things can play out. But we can't ignore it completely because with Ty Jerome and Karis LeVert on expiring contracts, the uncertainty of that and not knowing whether or not the Cavaliers are going to be able to resign those two, there are certainly some viability to the idea that maybe they look to move one or two piece, maybe not necessarily them, but they move one or two piece to get what they feel is a championship contending piece, that one piece that puts them from possible second round exit to or Eastern Conference Finals exit to bona fide championship contender. So there's absolutely viability in that idea. You can understand why, but I'm starting to lean more and more to the side that says, no, don't do anything. Don't mess up the vibes. Don't mess up the chemistry. Just leave this shit alone because it's working. We're winning games and we don't even have Max Strus back yet. We'll see. We'll see. But as of right now, I'm a huge believer. And I think most of the fan base is. The NBA media in general, from a national standpoint, is starting to catch more and more wind of this team. And I'm happy about that as much as I would like to, stay under the radar. I think this team deserves more national attention. With that said, though, I think that they honestly deserve more national attention. I think they deserve more games to be flexed. I mean, it's just crazy. Tom K says, Max missing this run. Would you trade him? No, because I feel like Max is one of those guys who would be perfect for this system. I think he would be perfect for this system, the same way that I believe that Sam Merrill is the perfect type of player for this system. Now, the conversation about whether or not Max should start or not, that is still valid, but there's no way, unless I'm getting back a prototypical 3-and-D wing that is just that can combine all the aspects of Dean Wade, Isaac Okoro, and Max together. I just don't see that happening, though. So, no, I'm not trading Max unless the offer just blew me away, because I truly believe that his movement shooting, his ability to move the ball, his rebounding, I think it can all help. And I think it would definitely look good beside some of the other starters out there. Michael Skupska says, I don't know if I'm comfortable with them letting go of anyone on this team unless they get a bona fide lengthy 3-and-D guy. Even then, it would depend on the guy. Yeah, you are echoing my sentiments exactly. I just don't think that I would want to tamper with what we have going on right now. But I understand the mindset behind it. Trust me, because money is important too. Michael also says, I kind of feel bad for Brooklyn. 2 back-to-back heartbreakers against the 2 best teams in the East. Props, praise be to them. Praise be to them because they're not quitting. And it's not like they had all of their best players. I know we like to shit on Ben Simmons. I know we like to really poo-poo on him, but Ben can still do some things out there as long as you provide him with spacing. And I don't think there's any pressure on him to truly succeed. And Ben has only played but a handful of games this season before, exiting due to injury, I believe. So I just actually, no, he didn't exit due to injury, but because he played 27 minutes against Boston. But you just take a look at his seasonal stat line: 6.1 points, 6 rebounds, 6.4 assists. That's a crazy ass stat line to have. He's not scoring in double digits, but I hate to say these numbers because I hate them, but putting up 6, 6, and 6, that's still something. It's not nothing on 62.5% from the field. The real hang up with Ben is obviously the lack of a perimeter shot or jump shot at all. But Ben is by no means a terrible player. He can still add value to a team. And he is somewhat of a big reason why they have managed to win a few games when everybody thought that they would probably be winless up to this point, considering their schedule. I mean, hell, they've they've put together a respectable record to date. They are, after tonight's game, I want to say that they are 4-6, but winning 4 games in this Eastern Conference and giving Cleveland and Boston tough games, that speaks volumes about them. It really does. D Jackson says, I didn't think the Cavs bench was this good. It's essentially the same bench as last year, but you got Ty Jerome back. Ty only played 2 games last year. Your other big addition was Jalen Tyson. And Tyson, obviously being the draft pick and kind of trying to fight his way up the pecking order, is not even in the rotation this year. So it's essentially the same guys. You got Karras, you got Sam, you got Ty, you got Dean, you got George. Tristan Thompson is not in the rotation. But as Provider number 1 says down here, it's about basically how you use them. JB used the bench much differently. JB used his rotations much differently. And the utilization of these guys heavily, it matters a lot in terms of how impactful they can be. It's why we have seen big games from George. It's why we've seen big games from Ty, from Sam, from Isaac. You love it, man. It speaks to how good of a job that Kenny Atkinson has done. D Jackson says, when are they going to let JT Thor play more? Honestly, with the Cleveland Charge beginning their season today, if you guys did not check that game out, if you go to gleague.com, you can get the YouTube link to rewatch the game today against the Indiana Mad Ants. But JT Thor and Luke Travers, I posted the Travers highlights. It's like 4 fucking minutes worth of highlights from him today as he put up 24 points, I think 10 rebounds and 6 assists. I think he had like 4 or 5 steals, a couple of blocks out there. It was crazy. But because those guys are with the Charge, I just don't think, similar to the way that Emoni was, I just do not believe that you're going to see JT Thor, Luke, and Emoni eventually when he gets back to the court. I don't think you're going to see them that often. There will be games in which they get sprinkled in when there's a day or two time between the Charge games and the Cavs games, if they need them, or if you're needing to get some of the regular rotation players some rest and you can spare the minutes. Yeah, we might, but no, with the Charge season beginning, it's probably going to be few far and in between, especially with this team looking to contend for a title. But I'm a huge believer in this team. Real Talk Tone says Emoni did all that last year. They aren't going to play much unless it's garbage time. So here's the difference. Love Emoni, still a huge fan of Emoni, but Luke Travers is so clearly far ahead of him in terms of being ready for the NBA. The only skill that Luke lacks with consistency is the 3 ball. And while we know that can be a huge swing skill for players to make that jump from G League to the NBA or overseas to the NBA, the other things that Luke does easily, in my opinion, give him a leg up on anybody else that is playing with the Charge right now, whether it be JT, whether it be Emoni, or anybody else you want to throw out there. Travers' game fits better at the pro level, especially if you have better shooters beside him. He's a better rebounder. He's a better defender. He's a better facilitator. And it happens to be because he did so much time in a league that many people consider to be superior to the G League in the NBL. I mean, still, even with that being the case, I don't believe that Luke will get all that much time with a team that is looking to contend for a title, but they'll sprinkle them in when they can, especially if injuries, knock on wood, creep into the equation. But yeah, I mean, it's fair question, but it's tough to truly envision any of those guys really, truly getting real opportunities at the NBA level. Elliot Srikantia, sorry if I mispronounced that. Luke having the size he does gives him an immediate edge over Emoni by itself. I mean, I think what is Emoni listed at? 6'9", 6'10", maybe, but I think the real kicker is the wingspan. Neither are exceptional athletes, but the way that Travers uses his body, a little bit different. He can draw contact. He can go up there. He's not afraid to grab rebounds. And we obviously know how impactful he can be on the defensive end. And he is a quality facilitator. We've already seen him send out some dimes in fourth quarters and blowouts and whatnot. The one that sticks out to me is one of his dimes to Tristan Thompson. D Jackson says, is Lonzo Ball playing Monday when we play the Bulls? That is a very, very good question. I need to check out the injury report because I mean a lot can change between now and then. Guys who may or may not be listed on their injury report for that game could change. Now he is currently listed as out as of the Bleacher Report app for that game, but we'll see. Mike Walzown says Ty's like having Delly back on steroids. And listen, we all love Delly over here. As why wouldn't we? But Dellavedova is not it's the shooting for me. Delly is a career 36.3% from three-point distance, and he is an NBA champion, so I'm going to put respect on his name. He was a hellacious defender. We know how hellacious of the defense that he played on Curry in those 2015 NBA Finals, the 2014-2015 NBA Finals, might I add. And he had some plays during the championship run as well. But yeah, Ty, he puts it all together. The facilitation, the scoring, the defense, it's beautiful. And to have him doing all that, and he's only making $2.5 million this year, it's insane. It's insane. It's crazy. It is crazy the production that you're getting out of him. He is going to be due a massive pay increase. And that is what worries me about retaining all of these guys. But we're not even there yet. I'm not even going to worry about how long we should keep the current group together. I'm going to take things one game at a time, one step at a time, one season at a time. Momo says Ty's hands on defense are crazy. The man is a steal machine. Yes. So the man has 15 steals in 11 games. It's fucking crazy. The deflections that this dude has. He's out there playing the passing lanes perfectly. He is staying in front of his man out there. He's pushing the ball out of their hands, right? He is just mucking things up. And at the listed size, the 6'5", you would think, that Ty is, he has the size on paper, but when you see him step on the court, I don't think anybody would truly believe that Ty would be capable of doing that at 195 pounds. I mean, but it's just funny, man. It's funny. And I'm glad that we have it on our side because we saw a glimpse of how badly he could beat you down when he lit Cleveland up 2 seasons ago when he was with Golden State. And to have that now on our side without him truly being like a knockdown shooter just yet on this season, it's been great. And I say that, and the dude is shooting 60+% from 3-point distance this year. But the crazy thing is it's just not coming on high volume. Just 1.8 3-point attempts this year compared to the 3.9 that he took with OKC, or the 2 that he took with Golden State, or the 5.1 that he took in his first season with OKC. So we just haven't needed him to be a high volume shooter, but yet he doing what he is doing right now, hitting that floater and taking what the defense will give him from the 3-point line and then attacking at the rim. It has led to him averaging double figures basically for the first time in his career, and couldn't be prouder of what we're seeing out of him because this offseason, a lot of people just frankly forgot about him. He entered tonight averaging 10.6 points, 3.1 assists, and 2 rebounds. It will change a little bit after tonight's performance. We'll have to see because, again, he did not crack double figures tonight, but he did manage to muck things up on the opposite end of the floor, and he was diming some guys up, finished with 5 assists tonight. So Ty's been awesome. Devontae Broom says, I think Ty Jerome is at least 6'4". He is. He's listed at 6'5" over on Basketball Reference. I want to say that Cleaning the Glass has him listed at 6'5" as well, but more so to me is it's like the measurables, right? The weight, the wingspan. I just would not have figured him to be the type of impact defender he is out there on the defensive side of the ball. And it's been crazy. Provided number 1 says, besides Boston on the 19th, what's our next big challenge? That is a very good question. I need to look ahead in the schedule. I'm trying to take it one game at a time because upcoming they have Chicago, Philly, Chicago, Charlotte. They have Boston. They have the Pelicans again. They got Toronto. You really got to dive deep. I would say they play Boston again on December 1st. So you can legitimately make a case to say that it'll be Boston on the 19th and then Boston again on December 1st as their next 2 biggest games. But again, that would do an injustice to their opponents because I never truly want to look too far ahead. I don't want to look over an opponent, much like we could have done tonight with Brooklyn, and fall into a trap game type of scenario, which this very well could have ended up being. And I'm so damn glad it was. But one thing that we have found out from Kenny this season is that he has had these guys mentally sharp, mentally prepared for these games. So, yeah, just to answer your question, I think it's Boston and then Boston, because after the somewhat of a tough start to this season in terms of scheduling, I do see some mostly what I would qualify as winnable games, but I'd never truly like to go in any game just penciling it in. Past the Boston games, we do have a matchup with the Nuggets on December 5th. We got Miami on the 8th, and we have Milwaukee again for the third time on December 20th. And we will face, before the year is over, we have games against the Warriors once more on the 30th of December. And guess what? We got a fucking New Year's Eve game. I don't know if y'all checked this out, but we got a New Year's Eve game against the Lakers. We may not have gotten Christmas, and I'm okay with that. But we got another LeBron game, right? Another game against LA. Then we'll see if we can pull off the sweep in hand. I don't think Bronny will be available for that game because he has been assigned to their G League affiliate. But any game against LeBron in LA, I believe this time around, is sure to do numbers. Pretty cool. New Year's Eve. Book it. Tuesday, December 31st at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for us. I hate those late games on the West Coast, but it is a big time matchup to say the least. And thank you, Mike, for bringing that up. Yet another game in which the Cavaliers managed to break the 100-point barrier once more, the 11th in a row that they have managed to do that. The Cavaliers have still not scored below 100 this year. I say it every episode, I say it every live stream, I do not believe they will end up I don't think they will end up ending that streak. I think they will score 100 plus in each and every game this season. Hope I'm not wrong. I'm going to continue to speak it into existence. I continue to tell you guys about the power of positivity and what the power of words can do and believe in and whatnot. But yeah, I just don't think that they will score below 100 in any game this season with the style of basketball that they play. From a statistical standpoint, they started the first half off shooting pretty damn well. I mean, although it was only a 2-point lead by the end of the first half, 57-55, they actually managed to shoot the ball pretty decently in that first half. I want to say that they shot 45% on 9 of 20 from the 3-point line entering the second half, and they shot 55% from the field. By the end of the game, though, that would kind of shift. 54% from the field, and then 36% as they would go on to miss a number of their threes. They went 9 of 20 in the first half from range. They went 1 of 8 in the second half from range. They stopped leaning on that shot so much, and I think it worked out. The 3-ball was abandoning them big time in the second half. So I'm glad that they decided to lean on more of an inside game. And that's kind of an underrated aspect of tonight's game. They turned the ball over 14 times to Brooklyn 17. So they won the battle of turnovers. They got out rebounded, which to me, I'm like, okay, you have Evan Mobley, you have Jarrett Allen. Why is the rebounding on this team something that could potentially be troublesome against specific teams? We got out rebounded 36-33 tonight. And I get that part of that is because we're highly efficient. And when you're shooting the ball as well as Cleveland has been this season, you're going to see lessened rebound totals, right? You're not going to see high rebounding totals if you're knocking down a ton of shots, unless it's on the defensive end. Entering tonight's game, Cleveland ranked, I want to say, 26. They're ranked 26th in overall rebounds entering tonight's game with 41.4 boards per contest. Not necessarily something that I would have expected, considering that you have two of the better rebounders in basketball. But when you're hitting your shots at such a damn efficient clip, they're league leading 52.8% from the field, and you're shooting the 3-ball like madmen, 42.2%, also leading the league in that area. I guess with that efficiency comes lowered rebounding total. So it's understandable. I get it. Pee-wee's burnt pizza says 37 turnovers in 2 games is a little concerning. Yeah, I mean, yes, I never want to truly just throw it away as a stat that doesn't matter. But I think that with the additional possessions that they have garnered this year, because the pace has definitely increased, I can overlook certain aspects. They turned the ball over 19 times against Golden State. And what I say, they turned the ball over 13 times tonight. The math ain't math in there. The math ain't math in there. So it was 33, if I'm not mistaken. 33 turnovers in the last 2 games. But I'll take it. I'll take it. They're still towards the tops of the league in terms of turnovers per game. And when I say tops in the league, I mean they're not turning the ball over a ton. They actually, entering tonight, they're only turning the ball over 13.5 times per game, which is the ninth, which ranks ninth in the NBA. So that's damn good, right? You're in the top 10 in that area. You're being pretty deliberate, pretty careful with the basketball. Players that we constantly had to question what the fuck you're doing on possessions last year, from players like Darius, Garland, Karis LeVert at times. Hell, even Donovan Mitchell at certain points. It just was not happening. It hasn't happened nearly as often this year. And that's been one of my favorite parts. They're playing much, much more deliberate with the basketball, especially Darius. Phenomenal. Not much else that I can say about this one, guys. I'm hoping that we can, go into this game on Monday against Chicago with the right mental makeup, because Chicago at 4-6, they're another team that if you don't play them right, you don't come in with the right type of mentality, they could definitely hand you an L. We don't want to end up on the wrong side of that bracket. So hopefully they're able to extend this streak to 12 and, lower the amount of teams again, because with every game that they win, they're entering more and more rarefied air. There have only been, let's see here, 7 teams, if I'm not mistaken, in NBA history to start the season off 12-0. That was the 2015-2016 Golden Warriors, the 1993-94 Rockets, the Washington Capitals back in 1948-49, the Dallas Mavericks in 02-03, the Boston Celtics in 57-58, the Chicago Bulls, led by Michael Jordan, in 96-97, and last but certainly not least is the Seattle Supersonics, who do not technically exist anymore, back during the 82-83 season. Those are the 7 teams to begin the season 12-0, with Golden State at 24-0, as Pee-wee's Burnt Pizza says down here, 24-0, back during the 2015-2016 season, only to lose to the Cavaliers and blowing that lead. I don't care how many, you probably heard me say that like 10 million times already to start the season, but until I'm not allowed to anymore, I'm just going to continue to bring that up. And with the Cavaliers potentially in position to break that record, it's probably going to come up a lot more. That's all I'm going to say. 11 games in, 13 down to go to tie that record. But 14 now to break it. And I certainly think it's possible with the slate that we have in front of us. Time will tell. But as I always tell you guys, if you'd like to reach out to me, you know how you can. It's Cavalier_pod on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and more. If you want to be added to the It's Cavalier Discord chat, you know what to do. Leave a rating, leave a review, send a screenshot of said review to itscavalier53@gmail.com. If you are watching over on X right now, go over, hit that like button, subscribe if you are not yet subscribed, because I try to go live every single game after win or lose. And if you're on YouTube, do the same damn thing. You never know how much you're helping your boy out. Go Cavs.